I-V-M.
Hey there, if you are a curious mind who wants to understand how government policies work and what is the effect of government policies on your life, then you should check out The Seen and the Unseen, where journalist Amit Verma talks to guests and also dives deep into understanding what these policies really mean and if they really are effective or defective. You can check out the episodes on the IVM podcast website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hello everybody, you're listening to Keeping It Queer with me, Navin Narona.
And Farhad.
Hi guys, welcome back to Keeping It Queer. We never left, we are here in the studio. And joining us today once again is Farhad.
Hello.
My co-host on the show, who comes with a lot of experiences in his life.
Do I?
You don't, but I say that. And we also have Jeeya Sethi returning on this episode. Hi Jeeya.
Hi Naveen, hi Farhad.
What's up? So Jeeya was there on the recent Fag Hag episode we did. And then when she learned that we're talking about our next topic, she wanted to stay back. And today we're discussing monogamy. You know, something that that irks a lot of people within the community and around the world general.
Of course.
And let's just first up go around taking views in this room about what do you all feel for us.
Okay. Monogamy, right? Like, for whoever it works. In my relationships, I've learned that maybe it doesn't work. So I'm like ambiguous on
Have
monogamy.
you ever fallen in love?
Oh my God, I am one of those people who feels like in every relationship I've fallen in love. And I don't mean that in a attachy, like clingy sort of a way. I genuinely feel like I loved every person in retrospect.
Yeah.
Now I loved even the toxic people. I feel like I really loved them.
Yeah, you enjoyed the toxicity, the insanity sometimes.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. What about you, Jeeya?
No, I want monogamy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm for monogamy. I'd rather be with one person than be with some 30.
But not in that respect as well. Like, until like a lot of people, we just like, we try to find the right person, but it won't happen until like we go to the pool of multiple people. And it's like a whole new generational shift in India also. It's like our parents never had the chance. They were just like, the first chance someone was tied to them, they were like, okay, let's do this. And
plug and socket.
Yeah, and like, you know,
We are extension cords.
A lot of people say that like they didn't get the chance to fall in love. Like the earlier generation that was trying to make it in Bombay especially, they were so busy working and making ends meet, they really didn't have the time. And as you said earlier, like your mom
or
and dad,
the apps.
Yeah, or the apps.
Yeah.
Like my parents basically were trying to make ends meet and basically were taking like 1-2 years shift between going to Kuwait and taking care of my sisters. So they never really met each other properly until like years later my dad was finally like done with his job and moved and started staying home.
Okay.
My mom's like, oh shit, like this is the person I married. Like she realized 30 years later
Oh my God.
that happened to her.
Okay.
And you know, but like our generation is totally different. We just like, we go for the juicy parts of each other's interests and sexual likes on our apps and then immediately go for it.
We also have a lot of friends in our lives, right? I don't think our parents had that many friends. So even if your partner is pissing you off, you can fuck off and go meet your friend and just hang out with them.
But sometimes I can't help but think, like, if our parents at least thought it, like, oh, I've this penis for the rest of my life, or this is the vagina I have to fuck for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they thought it, at least. I don't know.
I don't think we think it as for the rest
Or
of
me.
our lives.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
we even for our
Or
careers
for us,
in
it's
lives.
an option. For them, it wasn't, is what I'm guessing.
As long as it lasts.
Okay.
You know, that's like the eventuality of it. And like my mom would say sometimes that, you know, like sometimes there was no love or romance unless like they were planning a kid. That's how it is. And like once they had 2 daughters, my sisters, they didn't have sex for a while because they were traveling. And it was only after like they wanted a boy was when they started like planning again, and then they had me.
Okay.
And then that's what got them together closer, apparently, is what they believe. And then I ruined everything.
No, you didn't.
No. But like, as you were saying, like my mom and my dad also, like they had friends. But I don't think they can confide as much as we can. Like we can tell our intricacies to people in our lives. But they could not. They have to become each other's best friends types.
But how do you bitch about that person to that person, right?
Exactly.
You can't.
You need someone else to,
Yeah.
Like of all the things, you know, like sometimes your parents fight and you have to witness that. When I was in 8th grade, that was happening a lot in my house, where there was like constant friction in my family, and my dad had lost his job and everything. So my mom was supporting everything, and there was a lot of tension in the house. And I remember that time also, like I spoke rudely to my mom and she broke down, and then like the whole thing. And turned out the whole psychological effect was on me because I was a kid growing up in that environment.
Okay.
But then like it got better. Like, you know, I hold a grudge against my father for certain things.
Okay.
But as I grew older, I spoke to my mom about it, and she's like, you know what? At least your father didn't cheat on me, or at least didn't hit on me. And that's the bar they were going for, right?
As in, didn't hit her.
Yeah, like, there was no abuse, there was no
Okay.
cheating on her. So like, you know, she feels that she still got a better lot
Yeah.
of
I
all.
really wonder what kind of like conditioning goes into starting to think like that, because even I come from an extremely violent, like not violent, but like an extremely dysfunctional family. We were never at peace. We still aren't in a lot of ways. But my dad's repeated sentences, at least she'd not cheat. At least she's on, you know.
Yeah, how would
at
you
least-
feel if your mum had a boyfriend?
I mean, cool.
Now I would love it. Like if I at least I think about this a lot of times. Like because you know a lot of times I feel, oh, for the kids we are in this for the kids. We stayed together for the kids. I feel like a lot of parents do that.
Yeah.
And now that they don't have to stay for the kids, I just wish they had more enriched, colorful. Not that, at least in my case, again with my dad's Alzheimer's and my mom's this, they've somehow gravitated towards each other after all these years with almost 3 separations. My parents have separated 3 times and they've got back together. They are one of those people. But yeah, now sometimes I can't help but think like I wish just sometimes like, fuck, I found like my mom has a new lover, or like, wow, I wish they never.
So when they separated, did they not find someone?
I don't think so. I really don't think
They're
so.
like, only this person can handle us.
I know it might sound like I'm in denial or something, but I genuinely just know. You know, my dad early on told me one thing which I'll never forget, and I feel like it applied the most to his marriage, which was 2 people don't stay together because they are happy. You know what I mean? And it really, that's a coin that has dropped so far into my psyche, because I really, from talking about toxic relationships, I realized that I was in a toxic relationship for as long as I was, also because I was, even unhappiness is a reason to stay together, or misery sometimes, like, you know, that makes you feel alive, or toxicity, like that makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
So generally when I hear about abusive or like toxic relationships, I'm not someone to like sit and judge why are they together, or why. I just know that they're stuck, you know, and they're feeling alive on a daily, because that's what it becomes in the end, you know.
Like one of the guys I dated once, like the same guy from Bangalore, the biker one, and like he one day like randomly asked me, like, you know, I once hit one of my boyfriends in anger, and like, if I ever did that to you, would you leave me? And I'm like, fuck yes.
On one of your 7 bikes.
Yeah, and he was aghast that I would say yes to leaving if he hit me. I'm like, dude, yes. Like, why would you think?
Why was he asking you then?
He was an asshole. That's why. Like, you know, like
He
was
wanted
one of,
to hit him.
Yeah, he was one of those buff, like muscular dudes who hits the gym, and like, you know, the very macho. Like, you know, some gays run extremely to the other side to like prove themselves as a macho, you know, a very emotionally aloof person. But then like when you meet them and you date them, you know that they are like entirely broken from the inside because of this whole facade of macho-ness that they are kind of carrying around. And I felt for that guy, but I was like, this is not for me. I'm not going to like babysit a 33-year-old man. And that's my thing. I've just like, from relationship to relationship, when I go, I feel that okay, there's a sense of stability here, but also I find other people attractive, and I can't do anything about it. I imagine fucking them, like, you know, that's how it is for me. And I've had this duality. Like with my last relationship, I came out on the first day and I said to my boyfriend that I don't want to be monogamous because that's not who I am. And I realized that the more I look into myself, the more I realize that my body is something I really want to like share with more people.
Got it.
And that's a weird zone to come from. I don't know.
No, I totally get it. I
don't get it at all. I
get. See, obviously, this conversation is we have for monogamy, and not, I wouldn't even say for. It's a very gray area, right? Because even when you're in a relationship, obviously none of them start with direct open relationships. You have to set a foundation based on which, if you have to have a success, I feel that, like for open relationship to work, your foundation of the 2 people involved has to be so fucking strong that no external thing can break that in some way.
Yeah.
But if I feel if she's on the polarizing side, I totally get where you are also coming from. But like, I don't know, I just fundamentally always believe that no person can be mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something I've learned repeatedly over time. I get it. Again, for who it works, right?
Yeah.
But I just feel like, how can I fucking expect someone else to just be mine and want to be only with me? And I don't mean to like, again, make it sound like you are not seeing that. But
no, I'm seeing that as well. I see where you're coming from as well. Also, I don't know why. Maybe I think it's just a woman thing that we want.
Sure.
That Also, it's so. For example, women find it difficult to have one night stands, right?
Sure.
Because you want to have a connect with the person before you whatever.
Let them in, yeah.
Not
So
when
that-
you say it like that.
You want to connect the
No, like you want to know them better. You want to have something more than just sex, right?
Yeah.
And so that is where women find it less to be more like, they don't want, they want monogamy. They don't want to be like, haan, sab karte hai.
Yeah, but that applies to, like, when I meet people, on the first night, I don't do one night stands either anymore. I like rather...
Wow.
No, honestly. Like,
No,
if I told you I hooked up with someone, I've known them for a while. And then
What were
I
you
hooked
doing
up.
last night, Navin?
I hooked up with someone. but I've known them for a while. Like, we've known each other for 7 years, and that's why we were like, hoga ki nahi, milega ki nahi type.
Multiple nights stand.
No, there was no... This is the first time we ever met.
Okay.
And then we clicked, like, whatever. So, but my experience is also learning from my family sometimes. Like, I see how my close relatives also, like, who are married for years now, miserable with each other, hate each other, and the first chance they get to, like, uncle goes in the bedroom, sits with his beer with my father, auntie goes in the kitchen, sits with my mom, and they start bitching about each other immediately. I've seen that equation.
Yeah.
What I feel like is like that one person can't give you everything. And that's what we want. We want that one person to give us everything, and then we can... And then that doesn't happen, right? And then that's what breakups are all about, where we're like, okay, not everything was fulfilled, but we somehow still feel that we own them at some point. I'll tell you why, okay?
My boyfriend type.
Yeah. Because my psyche was like that. When I first, like, my Dubai relationship broke up, right? And when that happened, we were like, okay, we're broken up clearly. Now we can sleep with other people. And we established that rule. And we were like,
After you've broken up.
After we've broken up. But I'm
Okay.
like, if you want to still be friends, don't ask, don't tell for some time, because it's like, it's too close to, like, the
It's
relationship to be
ox.
like,
Yeah.
But then, like, he went and did it, and then started describing everything that happened that night in detail, from the date
To you.
to me. So, like, from the meal they ate to what he did in bed, he's describing everything in like detailed clarity. And I'm just like, why are you doing this to me? Dude, like, I don't want to read this, right? No, because I did these things to you, and you loved them, and I did that.
Yeah.
So, like,
He was hurting, basically.
I was hurting.
And he was hurting you.
And
He was obviously,
he
the
doing
agenda
it-
was to
the agenda
make you
was to be
feel
like
hurt.
a conniving
Yeah.
psychopath person. That's
Okay.
why I'm saying toxic relationship, right?
Okay.
But, like, I did not even say ki, okay, good for you. I was like, was he better than me? That was my first instinct was to ask
Yeah.
that. Was he better than me?
Yeah.
And it's like, not better than you. It's different, but I really enjoyed this more, he said. And that's when I really lost it. So, like,
Okay.
that's what happens. I feel like monogamy is not for life, because you lose control over the person the moment you let them go. And then they will decide how they want to go with that flow, So,
Okay.
so it's kind of weird that and that's what, like, made me a non-believer in that more so, because after that I went to Vipassana and everything, when I was like really meditating and contemplating. And I have this joke where I'm like, it helps you find out who you are. And I found out who I am. I'm a hoe. Like, that's that's what Vipassana taught me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm okay with the fact that I can, like, not be with one person forever.
Sure.
But I'm okay, like, letting...
While Vipassana taught you that, for me, it actually came from actually being friends with other gay couples who are like, I'm talking, these are gay couples who are like 10 years, 12 years together. And that's like a fucking unicorn. Like, to find a gay couple who's been together for 10, 12 years, that's almost close to, like,
Eternity, yeah.
never, right?
Yes.
You never come across those guys. But the ones who I have, they all are in open relationships. And I kind of soak in what they're doing right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I get it why it works for them. Like, all of them, first of all, are very obviously in an open relationship to maintain their sort of, like,
Sanity.
it's not their sanity, but it's just a very, once
love.
they become one, as cliche as that sounds, I like how they think that everything else is external. The fundamental understanding that whatever I experience outside or do outside of this relationship, in the end, you have me and I have you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's sometimes beautiful to see. You know what I mean? Just that I will only come back to you. And I know to say as sentences, these sound a little like tacky or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's like a huge example I've got from a couple of couples.
And I agree. Like, I've seen that in many relationships myself as well.
Yeah.
Like, I was once with a couple who's been around like for like 15 years together, and at this point they have realized that, okay, while they're an open couple, they also like to have threesomes together.
Sure.
Basically, they're like, instead of cheating on each other, why don't we cheat together with the same person because we both like the same kind of person, and that makes it easier because then the other person is also into the fold and all of that stuff.
I don't think they see it like that, but sure.
No, that's what they said. They really,
let's cheat on each other with the same person.
No, let's cheat together. Like,
Okay.
It was more like
Yeah,
a poetic take on that.
Sure.
It's not like they're cheating on the same person.
Okay,
Like
okay.
it's not that the other guy is going to the kitchen and they're fucking in the bedroom and vice versa.
Sure.
It's like they're on,
Yeah.
but at least they're on the same page with regards to like, okay, for men, I feel like, at least in that regard, because you explained that it's a woman thing where you want to like have a connection. For men, sex is more visceral. We keep repeating that, and as much as I hate to say that, because we go through that and we just realize how it is from one jerk off session to the other. That's how it is for us, you know.
Yeah.
Like a lot of dudes on, like I once met a guy. It was my downfall in general. But I was like so desperate to like just get a blowjob. Basically, just one dude was like, "Come over, I'll blow you off." I'm like, "Cool." And I went to his place, and then like he's like, "Can you come faster? There's another guy coming in after you." And I'm like, "Oh fuck!"
Oh shit!
I'm
That's
like, what? I walked in, and
doctor's appointment.
yeah, and I was like, "Hey, I'm okay to stay back and watch." I guess I don't know because I had walked into a very weird situation, and that's when I felt like my downfall was like I was so desperate that I would go for this, and from then I'm like, okay, like I have to like now reevaluate who I hook up with or what do I do in my life and sleep with, and since then like I understand that polygamy is also like one of my closest friends from Delhi is a polyamorous person, and he says that your body is supposed to be like celebrated by different people also, like, you know, there's so much love to give, so much experience to share, and that's where the chain of thought goes. And again, like once someone settles down with me, I'd love the fact I'm like, okay, waking up with them, sleeping next to them and all of that, and I tried that and it's crazy sometimes,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's not easy also, so I don't
Which
know.
has its own charm, to not like totally disbrand like monogamy, but like I sometimes just having that one person, I get the whole appeal of that too.
Because most of your hookups will like leave after you're done at night, and then you're still like you're in your room alone, being lonely and sad, and just like wishing someone loved you.
Yeah.
But that never happens.
Isn't there a lyric like that? It takes more than fucking someone to keep yourself warm.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a small break at this point. When we come back, we'll discuss more on this on Keeping It Queer.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you are not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do remember that if you enjoy what you're listening to, take a screenshot, tag us on social media, and we'll repost you on one of the platforms. Also, just, shout out if you want to tell us anything about what's going on. Also, a quick reminder, we are still hiring. We're hiring in a whole bunch of different areas. If you're looking to work at what I believe is the best place on earth to work at, then you should check out our careers page. That's at ivmpodcast.com/careers. On the scene and the unseen, Amit Verma is joined by one of his most frequent guests, Vivek Kaul. They discuss the budget announced for the year 2019-2020 and answer listener questions in the second half. On The Origin of Things, Chuck narrates the story of purity, an outdated beverage, and a business deal. On Not Just Dansak, Farzan talks to Kaina's contractor, co-founder of Rustam's Parsi Bonu, restaurant that serves home-style Parsi food in Delhi. On Geek Fruit, Tejas and Jishnu are joined by stand-up comedian Rohan Joshi. They talk about the new Spider-Man movie Far From Home. On Advertising is Dead, Pratish Mepani, founder and creative director at Starting Monday Design and Branding Company, talks to Varun about how the concept of design in India has evolved over the years and the importance of it in trade and business. On Pulyabazi, Pranay and Saurabh are joined by Anup Rajput, engineering head at Incus Technology, to discuss semiconductor microchips, their supply and manufacturing, and how it affects geopolitics between India, China, and the US. On the Empowering series, Zarina is joined by Ambar Rana, founder, Corpus Legal, and host of the podcast Know Your Qanun. They talk about gender equality, the importance of diversity at the workplace, and gender-neutral laws. On Golgappa, Trupti talks to Anuya Jakatdar, co-founder of Books on Toast, about her love for books and what it was like growing up in a Marathi household. And with that, let's continue on with your show.
Welcome back to Keeping It Queer second half. We're discussing monogamy. And before we got into the break, we're talking about, open relationships and how some people have successfully maneuvered through them. But we know people who tried that and didn't work out either.
Yeah.
So, like, do you want to tackle that?
It's happened to me. I've tried, as in eventually after like the phase of like, oh my God, you are mine, I am yours was over. We sort of like discussed it. We sort of tried it. First of all, I want to talk about a very important phase in like trying an open relationship is where both partners wait for the other one to go first. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where, oh, you fucked up first. Like you wanted this more than me.
Yeah.
But that's a petty issue, I feel like, again. But I feel like even though 2 of my relationships might have failed, one a 4-year relationship where we just tried this open relationship thing a couple of times from different angles, I still feel like it was something worth trying for. You know what I mean? Because I know you snuck a sentence in early on this conversation where, who do I complain to about this person? Or when I don't want this person, where do I go, right? And that's such a natural thing to feel for the love of your life. Even though they are the love of your life, it's to sound like when you hear it, the love of your life, you feel like every second must be spent consuming this person, but that's not the reality. Sometimes you just don't want this person to fucking fart around you or like watch any TV around you or whatever.
Yeah.
So, again, I felt like in one of the relationships, at least where it did not work, we had that foundation. And it did not work out for other reasons apart from the whole trying for open relationship. But when we tried that open relationship routine, I absolutely loved it. I loved him more. If that sounds I don't know if that's...
Whose idea was it?
It was my idea.
So
it was but we both are teaming. In some ways, the idea was bubbling in both our heads. It's just, again, and I say this multiple times, I always feel there's a skew in every relationship where one person is more vested than the other person.
Yeah.
So to break that, an open relationship can easily break that. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you are a fucker who wants to try. I'm self-sufficient. I'm happy with this, whatever. But I just felt like it was worth trying out, because the more I wanted to experiment outside, the more it also made me realize how much I value that person. When we sit here and we talk about bad hookups and bad dates and bad relationships, and then when you found your person, that one person who you're this, and then everything else just becomes
irrelevant,
physical, like some way to like experiment outside and then you come back to be real with another person. I feel like that sometimes tends to be a great feeling.
So when you were in this relationship and it was an open relationship,
sure.
Did you by any chance get connected more with somebody else?
Then come the rules. Which is I don't feel this is a 1-episode conversation I don't even think this is a 3-episode.
Like, what if you find somebody else and you
met them once and what... Can you meet the same person twice? And can you this? And what about this? And what protected? It's so much. There's so much that goes around trying to make an open relationship work. But there are rules. Once you set those boundaries. But again, I feel like when it's like natural, when you and your lover are in a space where you both fundamentally again realize that, hey, I'm just going to clip his wings if I like hold him back or contain him in any way. Yeah. If you both are on that wavelength, I feel like then there are sometimes no need for rules then. I think we tend to overcomplicate things when it comes to open relationships, and are understandably so.
Yeah.
Because we live in an age of fucking Grindr and Tinder. Today if I found out my boyfriend is cheating on me, I won't just find out that he's cheating on me. I'll find out the messages, the kinds of messages, the nudes that were sent, the screenshot. In fact, again, to bring up Esther Perez, I'll never forget something she said, which was, unfaithfulness in the digital age is death by 1,000 cuts. And I'll never forget that. Like, because there are so many ways in which you feel hurt then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right now, like even if you don't answer a call, they're like, okay, I saw you on Messenger 2 minutes ago. You were on Instagram 5 minutes ago. What happened? On Grindr, it shows like just
but if you're with a person like that, there's a good chance that you should just move on to the next one.
There are people like that, like for example,
I'm like that.
Yeah, I know. So the biker guy I told you about, like this happened to him where like he was dating an Italian dude who came to India with him, were in love with him and everything, and then like the Italian guy went to Delhi for 1 week, found a guy there and fell in love with him and left him entirely like stranded. So he had such a trust issue that now every guy he dated, he wanted to like control them to an extent. So if I went out for a show and I was having drinks or having meeting with other dudes, he's like, who's this guy? Tell me who's this person? How does he look? I'm like, just shut the fuck up, dude.
There are so many caveats when it comes to like again.
I'm like, who do you think, like, why do you want to own someone and control them to an extent that you want to distort who they are? Their reality becomes your reality, and that's not making sense, because then that person is going to be molded to what you want, and that's not who they are. You fell in love with them for who they are, right? So all of that.
And I get it, right? Like, again, there was one specific thing about what I felt like was, which I don't want to paint my ex-boyfriend in any bad light or anything because it's in the past. But I feel like okay, yeah, there's a great level of transparency, truthfulness. Like, okay, you tell each other what your life is outside the relationship, and that's all great, right? But let's say, I know this happened to my ex-boyfriend where he hooked up with one person. Sure, he told me, I was totally fine. He even showed me videos. I was ecstatic. But he hooked up with a second person, he told me, Then, you start realizing, fuck, now I want to hook up with a fifth person. Is that too much? Am I wanting this too much, And then he started lying, Like, then it became cheating,
Yeah.
I would have been okay if he wants to sleep with 100 men, because I'm 35. I kind of get how a gay brain works by now, at least observing my own mind.
Yeah.
I want to fuck all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to fuck for a year. But you know what I mean? It's like incessant, this need for release or finding release.
Yeah.
And I know that with my ex-boyfriend, it was just, okay, now I want to hook up with a 10th guy, but I can't keep telling my boyfriend that So that's where he like sort of, it took him out of the game, I feel. And again, there are tons of fucking caveats when it comes to an open relationship. But if I had to keep like crystallizing and boiling this down to one fundamental thing that I think that makes it work, is that once you find that one person who you know that this is it, then I feel like it's just smooth sailing. Like from there, it's just...
Then you wouldn't want to be in an open relationship, right?
Not really. Because that's the thing, right? You expect one person to fulfill everything that you want, Whether it's sexually, whether it's emotionally. That's a ridiculous demand to have in 2019.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I just want to fuck a guy because I find him incredibly funny. But maybe my boyfriend's not that funny, Sometimes I want to fuck a guy because he's got like pecs that I did not know men were capable of having. But
Yeah.
It's just, there are a multitude of reasons why I might want to have sex with someone else. But I know there's only one reason or two reasons sometimes that I want to be with my lover. And once you have that, it's like an easy space to be, I feel.
Yeah, so there's no saying like how relationships will progress in this modern time.
Yeah, and
age.
it's work in the end. Like, leave alone your relationship, but when you take on a polyam, we've tired, the conversation alone has tired Naveen out.
No, I was sighing because I'm like, when will this ever like make sense to me? But it would never make sense to me.
What doesn't make sense?
The whole fact that, okay, can one relationship always be the end all of it? And realizing that it's not, is just like...
But that's it, right? If you know, and it does happen. Look, I've been single for the past 3-4 years now.
No, but that's what, like, we have to also, like, there's a certain onus on us as gay people or as queer people who are projecting ourselves as queer, that, okay, this is not everything that we are about. We also, like, we have romances, we have relationships, and we settle down. But again, like, the fact that a lot of times it doesn't work out. Like, we see a high rate of, like, while in America now they have marriage licenses, they also have divorces happening at that equal rate. And that's kind of worrisome, because then, like, how do you go from there? How do you think of a future where you settle down, really? Because like I've spoken to so many older men who are just like single and alone, and they're like, dude, I'm living in a big house right now, and if I have a heart attack, no one will come to help me out.
That's so fucking sad.
Yeah,
it's a valid fear though. We all feel
my neighbors won't come to me because they know I'm gay, so they don't like me already, and then they think that I don't have a wife, so they don't want to talk to me.
But somewhere I feel like this fucking bug is put in your head by your parents, Like, without
society,
saying it, so many times it's like, this whole Shadi Ka Laddu syndrome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, if you are choosing this, which I think gay boys get a lot, right?
Yeah.
Once your parents have come around and they accept you for who you are, then the next worry is, fuck, is he going to be alone? Like, once we are gone, you know?
And that's also selfish, right? Because you want someone to be there for you when you're older.
Yeah.
But if you die early, what about that person? Are they supposed to just like wait around and faff around while you're gone?
Yeah.
Then they have to like start looking again for like someone at that age and point in time. Which is like a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
I think we're still young, we still have like a lot of that to explore.
Yeah.
Like, Jeeya, you have had relationships in the past, and do you have any learnings from them so far? Just staring at me like...
What? No, I don't have any learnings. Like, what learnings?
The biggest relationship
don't get
that
into
you
a fucking
ever had.
relationship.
Is that this?
So
I totally would get that.
So I was in a relationship where I was just going with the flow.
Okay.
Right, just there. Because society says you should have a relationship.
Yeah.
So I did, So I did.
Change society.
Yeah, I know,
Change
right?
your society.
And then for about 3 years, I was single.
Okay.
Very merrily,
Okay.
not, having fun types and all. And so when you're single, you don't have to care that caring is not there, right? But when you care for someone, and I'm the kind of person that will care 100%.
Okay.
I will give my full care.
Yeah.
And then when I see it's not coming back in the same
but
form.
that's the thing. I feel like, again, not to this, but so many times I feel like it comes from issues within. I especially even in my failed open relationships, I felt a lot of shortcomings were where I was falling short. Like, for example, let's just scrutinize what you said. You were giving a certain amount of like, or abundant like love, and you were expecting something. And that is such an easy thing to knock off, because expectation, as much as you want, it's not going to go the way you expect it.
Yeah.
So if the skew is already where you are wanting someone to do exactly in the same measure that you are putting, that's a ridiculous kind of like
expectations
pressure to put on someone. You know what I mean?
Give you disappointments. Yeah. So it's not, I don't know, it's harder to have no expectations and just be. Then, I mean.
But I'll tell you what the trick, can I tell you the trick? Sorry, Rindra. The trick is to find someone who doesn't expect anything out of you either. Try that sometimes. I don't want to like, just try it. Because the day I met someone who did not expect jack shit from me, and I fundamentally, again, I just don't expect, because it fucking, I know, as cynical as that sounds, a lot of times my shrink is like, you're too cynical for your age and all, but it works great for me, like not expecting something from anyone. And when I met someone who did not expect anything from me, it was a beautiful like space for both of us to be in, you know, because all I expected was him to understand why he likes me. All I expected from myself was to know constantly why I'm with him. And again, a fundamental understanding that a good relationship is about making the other person grow, and that they want you to grow, whether it's sexually, romantically, career-wise, professionally, however you want them to grow. Once you find a person like that who never wants to clip your wings in any way, it's a great place to be, especially for open relationships.
If they crimp the wings, it'll be cuter. It's like nice little curls.
No, obviously, you've not seen Tilda Swinton and Constantine, but sure.
I have. Awesome. So we have different learnings from our relationships, and there's no saying how we'll, you know.
There's no way to navigate. There's no manual. There's no like fucking this. But if it's something you
really
want to experiment in this, I feel like there's a lot you can learn about yourself when you try for open relationships.
Just be open to the idea, if you're listening out there, that one relationship won't be the end all of it. Like initially, if you're younger, you'll feel that when you find someone at 20, that person is the end all of it. But it's not. they'll disappoint you, they'll break your heart. Yeah. Be ready for it. Eventually, you'll find love. At 21, perhaps, you don't know. At 31, perhaps, or 61, perhaps, but you don't know. The idea is to like keep trying.
And sorry, but I want to add that even if you find the love of your life, you could find multiple other people to love at the same time.
Yeah.
That we'll keep that conversation for communal living.
Yeah.
But which is something I feel like is so important. Nobody talks about communal living. I feel like I would love to be in a space where, like this whole, oh my God, if I fall and I crack my hip when I'm old, who'll look after me? You know?
Yeah.
I feel like communal living can be such a beautiful thing if everyone is in a community, and I don't mean like LGBTQ community, like but a small community where
like the Orwell type situation.
Sure, but a lot of dick sucking and bush fucking.
Okay, that's how ideal.
Putting the ass in vipassana.
That's the kind of shit that got Noah's Ark out there. You know that, right? Like the world was filled with people just like doing merry and fucking each other, and God was like, "Let me just give you all flood."
Wow.
So unless you'll want another flooding.
Wow, Naveen just biblically schooled us.
Yeah. So learn your history. Don't be debaucherous. Have sex with one person only, okay?
No.
Yes. What? This turned around so fast.
I'm just being my uncle, auntie who
are Naveen can have that view. Yeah. Have we managed to change your view in any way?
No, I'm still...
Go for it. Again, whatever works for you, monogamy, open relationships, just asexuality, which is a great... Whatever works for you. Just as long as you're fucking happy. Yeah. I know, again, that's such a fucking cliche.
Eventually, your best friend is your hand sometimes. Just remember that. And use that.
Oh shit, I thought you just called me your hand.
No. You're my penis.
Wow. Okay.
All right, awkward so we should wind this up now. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. If you like this show, there's a lot more on IVM Podcast. You can check those other shows out on ivmpodcast.com or the app. And you can listen to what Jeeya has to say on her Instagram, Jeeya Darak Darak. And Farhad is Farhad Karkaria.
On Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, I am House of Narona. You can see me on Twitter and Instagram and talk to me. We'll see you next week with a new episode on Keeping It Queer. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, I'm Mikhail Almeida. I host a podcast with my co-hosts Akash Mehta and Siddharth Reja on the IVM app. It's called What a Player.
What a player.
WADDAPLAYAH, because illiterates can't find it on their own.
No, and the her at the end is very important. What a player.
Yeah. And it comes out every Thursday on the IVM app. Tune in, we discuss everything sports, all sports.
All sports.
Yeah.
Mainly cricket, other sport in the middle, sandwich.
What happened to your language skills? Don't worry, he talks better on the show.
Yeah.
It's a great show. It has all things, including cricket and things around sports as well.
Yeah.
And some personal life.
As you can see, we're a very united podcast, and if you want to listen to us, tune in to us every Thursday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have. Paisa Vaisa is brought to you by Paytm Money.